We are live, my friend. I believe we are live.
Yeah. That was
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, we're here. We're here. We made
Good
it.
afternoon, Mark. Good
Everything's rocking.
afternoon.
Thank you.
Oops.
Everything's rocking and rolling, I believe, right?
Yeah, we are. And I'm trying to fight off a fly. I got a killer fly after me. So
Tell me about that. What's going on in your neck of the woods with the fly thing? So,
well, here in Wisconsin, come fall time, early fall, we get a lot of flies, a lot of wasps, a lot of bees. So, but I got some flies here in the house, and they have found me and pestering me. So if you see me swatting, that's what I'm doing. I'm not having an episode of any sort other than the flies.
well, good for you. How's everything going, Tom? You doing good?
Things are fantastic. Excited about things I've launched with the Q streaming and my fundraising and my real estate platform for Q streaming for those that are in real estate. So yeah, just all the little detail stuff, building your contact list, reaching out to people that let them know you have a fundraising opportunity, and asking for their help, share this information with other nonprofits, that type of thing. So I'm doing the warm market reach outs right now. So
nice.
Then,
well, you usually ask me this question, so I'll ask you, what are you grateful for today? So here we go.
I'm always grateful for my health, that I'm here right this moment. This is the best day of my life. And I always get those funny looks like, what? Did you hit the lottery or get lucky or something on something? But no, really, I really cherish each and every day. It gives me an opportunity to be alive, be above ground, be vertical, be able to share, be able to make a difference in other people's lives where I can. So I'm so grateful for knowing you and our guest. And there we go with the fly. And I'm grateful for the fly even. He lets me know I'm alive, and I maybe better take a bath or something. I don't know. So,
all right.
But that's what I'm grateful for, Mark, this very moment.
Tremendous. And, obviously, I'm grateful to be here, and I'm included in this. And tonight we're going to talk with a gentleman that works with Pillar to Post. He's been on here before, Jim Skursky. Tom, do you want to share what Elevate Your Profits is about? You usually ask me that question. Now I'm going to ask you that question, see what we get out of this.
Well, we came together 3.5 years ago, created Elevate Your Profits, all about helping those individuals that may have a desire to go into business themselves, already in business themselves, what it takes to win by bringing in guests from all different business entities, walks of life, to share their story, that hopefully we can make an impact and make a difference in somebody's life in their business endeavors, or encourage somebody to be in business for themselves. And because I've been in business for myself since 1983, I'm going to date myself a little bit. So I've appreciated the freedom it's given me, the financial rewards it's given me and my family, and creating financial freedom, financial time freedom as well. And just it's a wonderful life. It's a lot of work, like anything else of value. But I just encourage people to, if you got a dream or a passion and it's not working out for you, look at what the most successful people are doing in their lives to give that financial freedom and time freedom that's out there. So
very good. That was outstanding. And I will insert this for all you football freaks in the Southeastern Conference, that Alabama actually lost a game, and they lost to Vanderbilt. So that's rocking the world down there. in Tuscaloosa, I'm sure, throughout the whole state of Alabama, and because they talked football 24/7 in that state. But yeah, it actually happened. Tonight's guest, though, I do want to bring this up. I know Jim. Jim is a member of PCBA, Peachtree Corners Business Association. I'll probably see him tomorrow at our coffee. It's a brief little coffee outing that we had. Thomas last week is also a member. He was with us, and tremendous, to have these guys with us. And Jim brings vast knowledge to what it is that he does, not just pillar to post wise, but he's a photographer. He's a computer geek. He's got a lovely wife. I've met him a time or two. I know we met over there at Peachtree Corners at the concert series, and good guy, good overall guy. He actually has taken a course or two through sales concepts. I don't know if I twisted his arm hard enough. He felt sorry for me, but he's done that as well. So it's kind of neat that I, hooked up with Jim and got to know him. And without further ado, I am going to bring him on here, and he can tell us. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Tom.
And you know what, Jim? Everybody pretty much knows about Pillar to Post, and you're what I call a franchisee. You're an owner, right? And you hooked up with them. Can you explain to us what attracted you to go to Pillar to Post before we get into this?
Well, I just liked the what they had to offer. They were a lot different than other franchise companies that I had looked at, and so that's basically what attracted me. Like you mentioned, computers and stuff. Well, we do a lot of technology nowadays that maybe some home inspectors are starting to do, but I've been doing what we do for the last 4 years. So again, we're kind of like the industry leaders in that respect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jim, everybody, like, we talk about Pillar to Post, what it offers, and one of the things that you've always talked about, and I like to show this, like, people know about it. It's kind of like your health or whatever, why
Yes.
a home inspection so important. And can you just elaborate on that? I mean, I don't mean
sure.
to be obvious, but why would you want to even do this?
Well, you kind of want to know what you're getting yourself into, because a home is a pretty big investment, and if you go in not knowing what you're getting into, then it can be financially straining, I guess, because there could be a lot of things wrong with the house and cost you a lot of money in the long run. So it pays to have somebody educated look at your house and find out if and what problems are there, so that basically you're more educated and you have a better idea and can make a better decision of whether you want to move forward with that purchase or not.
Jim, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
If I'm selling or buying a home, what's the investment to have a home inspection service done? I'm sure there's different levels of types of inspections, but typically, what type of investment is that is required, and who pays for that generally in a real estate transaction?
Yeah, so generally on the buyer side, it's usually the buyer, and it varies. It can run from a few $100s up to $1,000, thousands of dollars, depending on the size of the house, what kind of packages and or added services that you want to append to the inspection. So depending on your budget, we have 3 different packages. So again, we try to cater to everyone in the market, so nobody feels like that they have to go without an inspection. So we definitely have, I was going to say, a plethora or a wide range of services, so that, again, anybody that wants to invest in a house can get an inspection and be better prepared.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah.
I got another question. With the recent episode of Hurricane Helene,
Yes.
do you service do home inspections after events like that, so people can better understand what damage may have occurred, what that type of thing? And another one's coming to Florida now. So,
Right.
Georgia just got hit. Do you do services like that for homeowners to say, hey, listen?
Typically, no, but I guess I could, because of the technology that we utilize. It's very versatile. So in theory, I guess I could go and kind of document, the damage and whatnot. I don't know if it would really be considered an inspection. I mean, obviously I'm there and I'm looking at things, but typically it's on new construction or resale. But no, I get your point, where
Yeah, because a lot of people may have a need to file a claim, and of course, an insurance company can have their adjusters take a look at damage. Do you come in and help support the I guess the best way to call it, the one that's affected by the damage?
Yeah, I would say there is some support I could add to that.
Okay, that's a whole different area. It just sort of came
It
to
is.
me.
No, it is. It's a good idea too. And I know again, with the technology that I use, the camera that I use for some of the things, they had just sent out an email about that, like, to document the damage. And I was going to kind of throw this in there too, but years ago I was with the Civil Air Patrol, and I'm not sure if you knew about the Civil Air Patrol, but they used to I say search for downed aircraft. But now with the new technology, like switching from ELTs, which is an emergency locator transmitter, to GPS, there is kind of less of a demand for that. So we've worked with FEMA closely on documenting these type of natural disasters. So that could be like, well, it's kind of off a tangent from home inspection, but it kind of ties it in with what you were just mentioning.
Well, that's my entrepreneurial mind working. Here you've got a product or a service. Where else can you use it? So hopefully, there's some areas that if people have a concern about their property, contact somebody like Jim. Have an inspection to verify damage or non-damage, whatever the case may be, and because that'll save you a lot of headaches dealing with insurance companies and adjusters. You got an independent source that says X, Y, and Z has occurred here in this home, and just sort of validates either the insurance claim or a concern that the homeowner has. I think that's a good place for home inspectors too, if that's an industry by itself.
Yes, definitely. Yes. So
Tom's fly. Tom is.
I tell you what, if I got to get my fly gun out, shoot some sand, right? What do you call it? Rice or salt at it or something, But it's a pesky little devil. So I got, it's a small world. I was recently introduced to a gentleman named Michael Switzer. He's the president of the state of Wisconsin's Home Inspectors Association.
Okay.
And I won't get into the details how I know him, but he asked me to be a speaker at an event in October at their state convention. So I'm really excited about that. So his biggest concern, just a little plug, what I do is he's a very successful business person, is financially secure and financially independent, what we all work for, being in business for ourselves. But he sees so many of his colleagues in the industry struggling financially. So he asked me to come and talk about, knowing my background in financial coaching, to talk about what it takes to win financially. And I'm going to be covering behavior before numbers, relationship with money. Not, we all know what to do as to win financially. As Warren Buffett says, spend less than you make, get out of debt, stay out of debt, and save money. You'll become financial free if you apply those 4 principles. So very simple concept, but the question is, why don't we do that? But anyway,
Yes.
I'm talking about my event, but I just want to let you know that it's through a home inspector is giving me an opportunity to promote one of my other businesses is financial coaching. So
Very nice. Yes.
Tom kind of does it all, my man.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, since you
Yes,
talked
sir.
about packages,
Yes, sir.
like I noticed on your website, there's like a range of services.
Correct.
So you offer 3 home inspection packages. Are these tiered, or do they
Yes.
involve different services? You don't have to get real elaborate about it, but
Okay.
can you briefly tell us like what the difference is from plan A, B, or C, and
Sure.
how to go about that?
Yeah, exactly. So we offer 3 packages. We have a plus package, or a premium package, which is our most popular package, and our prestige package. So basically, like you just said, that they just build on one another. Essentially, they all include our visual inspection summary estimates, which is like any repair items that we find, you get a repair estimate on those. And they all include our latest feature, but it's been around for like a year and a half. I can't remember if I mentioned it the last time I was on, but it's Connects, which is a utility concierge. So
Awesome.
it will assist the buyer with setting up the utilities like internet, electric bill, gas bill, security system, those kind of things. And those are all, those 3 things are included with all 3 packages. And then the difference between the plus and the premium is, with the premium, you get a floor plan with room dimensions.
Oh, wow.
Home manual, which is, it used to be a separate report, but I'll get to the other new thing that we just launched, which is now kind of enveloped that. So the home manual is like a basically it's a it does a check on safety recalls for appliances. So it's kind of like a more detailed oriented information on appliances in the home. And then with the premium, you also get infrared scans. So I have an infrared camera, so I can scan the exterior walls for moisture. Typically, I scan the electrical panel around toilets for leaks, sinks, things like that. And then our prestige is basically the premium plus a healthy home package. So we have an allergen test where we can test for pet dander, bed bugs, roaches, things like that. And then on top of that, you could get additional added services, like I can test for radon, I can test for mold, I can test water quality, I can do sewer scope, termite. Those kind of things can be added onto the inspection, or those added services that I just mentioned, the last few, can be done without an inspection as well. If that's all you need, then I could just provide those services as well. And then the one last difference is if you get a premium or prestige, then you would get a discount on those added services at the time of inspection. So if you got radon with a premium, you would get 15% discount on that added service, and a 30% with prestige. And that's
I'm going to stop you there. Now that we're building in Peachtree Corners, do you think you'll do more condo, townhome inspections as opposed to actual individual homes? What do you think about that?
It's a possibility. I mean, because I've done all kinds of, I've done new construction and I've done resale.
Right.
With a new construction, there's actually 3 different inspections you could get. You could get a what's called a framing or pre-drywall inspection. So as they're putting the walls up, I could come and inspect it. And then there's what we term the final inspection, which is basically right before you move in on a new construction, and then 11-month builder warranty inspection. So typically a builder will give you a 1-year warranty on your new home, and before that expires, you can call me back and I can identify anything that's broken over the last 11 months while you were there, come up with a report. You can send it to the builder, and again, it's going to be fixed by the builder at their expense.
Right.
And then typically I do resales, whether it's for a buyer or a seller, depending on, typically I would say the majority of the time it's for buyers, maybe like 80%, but I also do market ready inspections for sellers. So if you're curious or you want to know what's wrong with your house before you list it, again, there's a lot of advantages to doing that. Not only knowing what's currently wrong with your house, but you could also possibly fix it. And if you do fix it, I guess the premise is if you fix it, then you can ask for more money for your house,
Sure.
for your listing. So that's kind of the thing. Yes, sir.
I got a situation here, and I just wanted to say how you would work with this. I recently had a ground fault outlet fail. My electric barbecue wouldn't it tripped the breaker.
Okay.
So it couldn't get it, so I called an electrician out, and they did what was it? Tested all the outlets for resistance.
Yes.
And to find out that the further you get away, it creates more resistance, can create heat, which can create a fire hazard. Do you check out the resistance factor on an outlet or anything like that to help maybe target the efficiency of a breaker panels or breakers?
Yes and no. I mean,
I don't.
I mean, I check their functionality and also like if they're wired correctly, but that's more like a job for the electrician. So I basically go in and check to make sure it's functioning properly, like you were mentioning about the resistance and whatnot. I have a little device I can stick into the receptacle, and it will tell me whether it's wired correctly. And then I have a little test button that I can depress, and it will, if it's a GFCI, it will hopefully trigger the reset of the GFCI to see if it's functioning properly. If it's not, then that's something that I would write up and report. And then it's the electrician's job to come in and figure out what's wrong and make it correct.
Yeah. So I recently had that situation on my breaker boxes. Of course, I called an electrician in to see what was going on. I don't want to get zapped or anything like that. And came to find out that half of my resistors or half of my outlets had too much resistance, which means I had to have some work done on the panel. So I just wondering if you do that type of inspection or you work with an electrician to make sure that electrical system box and breakers and such are up to code and that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, again, I do like the high level function testing, and then I note that if it doesn't work, I know the issue that I found, whether it's miswired or it didn't trip when I attempted to, or it's got an open ground, which basically means that the GFCI won't function at all. Like I was at a inspection the other day, and it had open grounds on all the GFCIs. And so when I attempted to depress my tester, it wasn't cutting the electricity off, and that is a problem, especially near moisture, like say in the bathroom. And if you've got a hair dryer and you accidentally got wet, then you potentially could get a shock, because that's basically what the GFCI does, is it will detect that small current, and it will turn the electricity off, preventing you from getting a shock.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, just a couple things on my own experience here recently just sort of triggered some thinking. So, question.
Okay.
So Jim, like,
yes, sir.
Tom touched on these things, like a new home. Someone's going to purchase a home for the first time. Someone's going to sell their home. Then you have investors. And I know you deal with a lot of real estate agents. How have you developed that alliance with real estate agents? And if you don't mind me asking, how's that working out for you?
It works. It's working out. So basically, I go and I meet real estate agents at their offices and or open house or networking events, and I establish a relationship, and basically tell them, here's what I have to offer, and usually it's it's to benefit them.
Sure.
I mean, I'm there for them. I'm there to make their job easier and quicker, so that they can process more transactions. Essentially, that's my end goal, as well as educate not only the client but also the agent as well. So again, we have lots of value added things during our inspection that helps everyone.
Good. No, I was just wondering about that, because there's a lot of real estate people out there. And Tom went to G-Force. We lost him, but we'll keep.
I'm gonna swat at this fly. So
okay, that's what he's doing.
Okay.
He's taking himself.
I'm waiting for him to land. I'm gonna hit him with my hat. So
he's
a big smack
himself off the screen so he can take care of the fly that will no longer fly around. But Jim, I was just going to ask you,
yes, sir.
How do agents feel about that? Because it's important to them, right? I mean, I'm sure people ask, like, hey, I want this house. Has this house been officially inspected? Whether it's a new one, whether it's a used one, a resell. I hate the word used, but that comes into play.
Yes, it does. Yes. Like I always say, anytime's a good time for home inspection, which basically covers all of the different scenarios, like you mentioned, whether it's new construction, a rental, or a resale, or like you said, a used house. But basically, I call it a resale. But that's essentially the different cases. And again, we have different, and they're typically the similar inspections. I would say more or less they're the same. It just depends on which package you get, and then also which added services you want to add on.
Have you ever dealt with the same, like you have the buyer and the seller? And has it ever happened to you where you're inspecting what a seller is offering to a potential buyer? Has that ever happened?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've done multiple inspections where I've gone to inspect a house for a buyer, and then later on I did an inspection for that seller who was buying their property.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I've done multiple inspections for multiple clients, but repeat clients, and I also have repeat agents as well. Obviously, they like my report and the work that I do. So I do a lot of inspections for agents that I've established a a good working relationship with.
Typically, how long does it take for you to do a comprehensive inspection on a home? You got different factors. You got basements, or you got crawl spaces, you got attics, you got all sorts of stuff that you have to get yourself. I couldn't do some of that work. I couldn't fit in some of those areas.
Oh, and people think, oh, you just look at houses all day. Well, it's a little more involved than that, right? Like you were saying, typically I estimate like in 1 hour for every 1,000 square feet. So,
Oh, wow.
it could be a small apartment, which is like 800 square feet, all the way up to mansions that are over 10,000 square feet. And I've done several of those too. So, and everything in between. So, and then there's still a lot of factors as well. Like if you have the package that you get and then any added services that you add on to that, it's going to add time because I have to spend time setting up those kind of services. And so it can range from like an hour up to say like 8 or 9 hours and everything in between. Typically it's about 2 to 3 hours, I guess the average.
Okay.
But again, it all depends on the package that you get and how many added services. I had one gentleman I did an inspection for a year and a half ago, and he got a Prestige, which is the top of the line, and he got like 5 added services. And that property had 2 structures, and I inspected everything there, and I was probably there for a good 6 hours.
Wow.
And then, of course, writing the report and all that takes.
Yes, that does not include the writing of the report, which I tend to do while I'm on site as much as possible. So I have all that pretty much ready to go. There's a few other loose ends that I typically do off-site, like my infrared camera, things like that. But you always get the inspection report the very same day.
Wow.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very good, sir.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this then. Since you go
Yeah.
through all this fun stuff, everybody's like probably sitting out there if they're listening to this. Okay, how much? Like, I don't want an exact number because you can't give it to me because it's based on square, based on a lot of
Yes.
different things. But
It's
what's
a lot of variables.
Right, absolutely. So
Yeah.
what's a ballpark? Between what number and what number are you looking at? And I mean, you're
Well,
talking square footage, like just say
Yes.
for an average home.
Well, I was going to say currently my average job size is between $600 and $700. If
Okay.
that kind of gives you a ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a piece of insurance. So like if you're
Yes.
particularly when I'm sure you deal a lot also, Jim, with people that are looking at resells, like someone's moving out and they're like, hey, I need you to check this house out for me.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Like,
yes. Yes.
Deal with this agent and put some money down and, because
Mhm.
it's an investment. I mean, there's
It
good
is.
about it.
It is, and that's kind of how I've gotten other referrals. Like I would be inspecting their house, and they would be present, and they noticed that I did a really good job, and so I'd leave my information, and
Mhm.
I get contacted and do more inspections that way. So it works. Again, I typically market to brokers and agents because they work with houses on a daily basis. But again, I can work directly with home buyers and sellers as well. There's fewer of those because they're not purchasing, as much as, well, I say purchasing as an agent, but they're not involved with a home purchase as much as an agent or a broker is. So, but I still work with home buyers and sellers directly as well as investors.
Before I turn it over to Tom here, two
Mhm.
things. One, you've got to be very organized, manage your time,
Yes.
not let and not let time manage you, so to speak. But I got to ask you this, Jim, because I
Yes,
know I've
sir.
asked it to you numerous times. Has anybody,
Yes.
when you had set up an appointment, no show you?
Yes, I've had a few of those. Like they'll either sign and I'll call to confirm, and
Right.
or actually I've actually had one gentleman. I was already like 1 hour into the inspection, and he showed up, and he basically said, My wife doesn't want this house," and I was like, "Okay, that's fine,"
Tom,
but he did
Tom,
pay
what
me
would
for
you
the
do?
time.
I'm going to tease like Tom. What would you do in that case? You know.
Well, I would be empathetic to, but I said my time is time, and
You
there's
still
nothing.
charge him though, don't you? I mean, and you
Yes.
should.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
that's
And
my
I
point.
do. Yes, I do. And I do have a cancellation fee because last summer, I don't know if I mentioned this, maybe Mark or
I think
not,
you
but
did. Yeah.
I had a doctor client, and she was interested in a very large mansion, and she kept pushing off the inspection, and eventually she didn't get it, and I had already missed work because she had scheduled it,
Oh wow.
rescheduled it multiple times, and since then I have other things that I've put in place, so hopefully that doesn't occur. Um, but it does happen. It's very rare, but again, things happen, but
Right.
still, you you have to be considerate of my time. So,
Well,
yeah.
Tom, I'm going to let you ask a question or two here.
What
Eric Kim,
I
hello.
know in your industry, there's a lot of knowledge to be based. What's the certification process? If I'm a consumer or selling a home or buying a home, what should I be looking for from the home inspector? Like on Mike's card here, it says Certified Master Inspector, a CMI. I
Mm.
don't know what organization that is. I don't know what that really means. What should somebody be looking for
So
as far as
every state,
credentials?
I was going to say, every state is different. There are a lot of states. I would say, well, right now, every state except for 6 states, you have to have a license, which essentially means you have to go through some courses. Typically, there's several courses that you can go through, certifications like the ones that I've been through, along with state licensing, and then there's usually like an apprentice period, and then there's also a national home inspector exam. So maybe I can back up and kind of
Oh, cool.
restate all of that. So typically, at least from my experience, I've taken what's called the AHIT, which is the American Inspector Test, and that's like the base test that Pillar to Post requires, and that was taken after 8 weeks of training, and then there are several national associations. Like I'm a member of the of ASHI, which is the American Society of Home Inspectors. They offer training, and there's also a test when you want to become a member, and then there's different levels within that. So there's like a entry level associate member. There's a inspector level, which is you performed 50 paid inspections, and you've taken the national home inspector test, and then there's the certified ASHI inspector, which is 250 paid inspections. Um, and then I mentioned the national exam, which all of the licensed states is a requirement. I don't know if you knew, but Georgia, there are no requirements other than a business license. So I've gone way above and beyond that. So I have at least 4 different certifications, and I've passed and taken and passed the National Home Inspectors exam. So
Hey,
just to
Eric, ask a
give you-
question. What
Yes.
did you learn after training that they didn't teach you?
Oh, I mean, I learned every. I don't know if you've seen my business card, but on my business card it says every house is a new adventure. So I'm always learning something every time I go. Like the one that I performed the other day, there was a new cooktop. Well, I say a new cooktop, but an electric cooktop, a radiant cooktop, which I had never seen before. So luckily, it was a pre-listing, so the seller was there, and he helped me operate it because I pushed the buttons, turned the power on, and try to get the burners up, and I couldn't do it without his assistance. So again, every house is a new adventure. I see always new things, but I always see the same old things, whether it's electrical or plumbing or structural cracks or rotted wood, things like that. You begin, once you do enough of them, you kind of see a lot of repetitive issues, or they're not really deficiencies, I should say. But I'm always seeing new things. And sometimes clients will ask me, well, what's that? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never seen it before today. So again, it just depends, but I'm always learning. Every house I learn something new.
Can I ask you a question? Do you ever go to any trade shows?
I
go?
do actually. Yes. I've been to mostly their real estate. I don't know what the right word. I was going to say centric, but they're real estate focused. So I do attend a lot of the like the Georgia Association of Realtors, things like that. So I do attend
deal.
those.
Good
Yes.
deal. See, like Eric's being Eric here, he said, ever see flux capacitors?
Oh.
So-
No. Although I did get into an argument one time. Well, I say an argument, it was more like a disagreement. I was on one home inspection, and the gentleman, he actually owned an HVAC company.
oh boy.
And down in the basement, there was a heat pump. It had 3 levels, so it had, three units, one for each floor. The top floor and the first floor both had air conditioners with a separate furnace, and the basement was heated and cooled with an electric heat pump. And he kept arguing with me, saying that the one in the basement wasn't a heat pump. And I
Oh
just
boy.
had to disagree with him
Oh my.
because I knew I was right. But anyway, he kept saying that it wasn't a heat pump, that it was only cooling, and I kept my cool, and I just was like, okay, yes sir, yes sir.
Actually, Randy is in a similar industry. I mean, as you, what he does
Okay.
with his business, you ought to get to know Randy Chafee. I always call him master of the sales.
Ah,
But I'll probably be seeing Randy here in a couple weeks in hot Atlanta down at the Congress Center around that vicinity. So looking forward to that, Randy. But Randy's a good guy to know. And Eric, man, you know what? Eric, I haven't seen any flux capacitors, but man, you know what? Right now it's about going on 7 o'clock here at our time. And I know Jim's probably a little hungry. I'm a little hungry. I was wondering why he didn't get us a pizza, like drop ship us a pizza in here. We could have had a pizza party of some sort. So, but
Yeah, we
Eric,
want to make sure that, we put the invitation out to Randy and Eric to be guests. So reach out to us, guys. We'd love
yeah,
to
we
have.
want you to come join us. I know you've done it earlier, but we promise not to stumble and bumble. Who knows? Maybe we can even do something down there at the Congress Center, Randy. That'd really freak them out. And by the way, I am going to say this. and Tom's probably going to cringe a little bit, but we are exercising our First Amendment right, our constitutional right as to what we're doing here, and I'm proud to do that. And I know all of us are, and I'm grateful that we're able to use these platforms and programs that are out there. So
Yeah.
we're not abusers, we're users. He said, "Oh yeah, look at this. This is true. This is very true. I was your very first guest, and that is a fact. And it was me on Mark's message. And I remember I had my questions lined up, and Eric asked me questions, and we had quite a few people. That was back in the day when everybody, correct me if I'm wrong, Randy and Eric, we were all in our missile silos, so to speak, because of COVID and all that craziness that went around. But I remember seeing pictures of Randy flying with a face mask and you name it, and being here with another mask. And I remember going to church wearing a mask. So I won't even get into that. That seems like eons ago. He goes, "We need a show with me and Randy together." That would be cool.
We can do that, sure.
Yeah, that would be tremendous. That would be a lot of fun. I don't know who would interview who, number one. Number two, you'd probably take the thing over, Eric. But we'll allow it if you bring us pizza, you know?
I'm putting my calendar link in here to Randy and Eric. Just schedule a time. We'll talk about logistics.
Right.
So it's there in the comments. There we go.
So Tom went ahead and did that, and I'll show that. There you go. He wasn't kidding. There it is. Hey. So and you guys know how to get a hold of me. And if that doesn't work, I can send you another form of invite, you know, as well. But so we covered a lot of different things here tonight, Jim. Can you tell me anything that you're doing different that from when we last spoke about a year ago? Is there anything that you notice in the industry? Everybody talks about economy, where we're at, where the state of affairs are at right now. Are real estate agents knocking it out of the park? Are people buying homes? Yes, no?
I mean, it's getting towards the slow season, but it's actually a little bit busier and there's more inventory than there was last year. So hopefully it's going to kind of extend a little bit longer, but yeah, typically between now and the end of the year, even though I've done some I do inspections year long, but it typically does slow down about now. But I mean, there's still plenty of inventory out there, and you know, life happens. So
and Eric is being Eric, so you better answer the question. Your favorite baseball player of all time?
Gosh, Babe Ruth, I guess that would be my favorite.
My father saw him play. Oh, here we go. Tom says Willie Mays. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here, man. You know what I'm gonna say, and I feel like, well, yes, absolutely, because he's a Brave. But there is one gentleman I really feel should be in the Hall of Fame, and I know everybody will go, "Oh my God!" Okay, here Eric says Jim Rice. Cool. It's very controversial because as a player, he made tremendous contributions. And then as a manager, he did some screwy things. I'd like to see at some point, who do you think? The man they call Charlie Hustle, played for the Cincinnati Reds. Rose. Yeah. I know that's a touchy-feely subject for some, but that man could hit a baseball. He really could. So not a bad fielder either, but yeah, definitely Hank Aaron is was fun to watch. Jim, I don't know if you remember back in the days of the Fulton County Stadium.
Yes,
Going
yes.
back, but just watching him hit was a trip. Chief
Mm.
Nakahoma, they had a teepee out there at center field. He'd sit in there with his little TV, and then when they hit a home run, he'd dance around the teepee. Before the game, he would come out and lift his hands up in the air and, wish good thoughts for the Braves.
Who's Big Pappy?
Big Poppy.
Oh,
That's what he's talking about. He commentates a lot of the games right now in the divisional series, particularly ALDS. He played for the Boston Red Sox.
Okay.
Didn't
ring a bell with me. So
yeah, good hitter. There's another good hitter too. Big man. Well, we kind of digressed here, guys. Thank you for your comments, Eric. As always, it's a privilege and honor, and I never know what you're going to throw at us, so that's cool. But Jim, is there anything else that you'd like to add about your business?
Yeah, just a couple of new things this year. So this year I started offering online booking on my website. So now you can
talk to us about that.
Yeah. So now, I mean, I still have the old ways, but you can still call my office number and schedule that way or send emails. But now you can actually log in and look at my schedule and schedule inspections that way. So
cool.
So that's new. And then we just started another new, not really a service, but another new feature. It's called our homepage, and it kind of takes the reports and everything to the next level. So
Nice.
Rather than just getting an email with your reports attached, you actually get a personalized homepage on the internet where all of your inspection reports and service reports will reside. And once you go there, you can just bookmark it, and they're there for, well, I say forever, but they're there for 10 years, whatever.
Nice.
So anytime you ever want to go back and retrieve your reports, well, I mean, obviously you can download them and print them still, but they're essentially on the cloud now. So that's
good.
our latest feature that we're offering. It's called PTP Homepage.
So I'm going to jump in here. So last week was Thomas Fries, right? And
Yeah.
he's the business owner and digital marketing and all that cool stuff. And I'll probably see him tomorrow. I'll probably see you tomorrow. So
Yes.
This is back-to-back Peachtree Corners Business Association. This could get scary. So I don't know if Tom has someone for next week or if I beat him to the punch or whatever. But
no, we're not going to have a show next week. We're both going to be out of town.
The week where we're both out of town, but it's the week after, and I'm putting out the challenge here. Anybody in Peachtree Corners Business Association, and I'll probably state it tomorrow, please come on board. It's pretty painless. Jim is doing fine. You don't have to be the most tremendous public speaker, but if you have a business, this is one way of letting people know what's going on. And if you get stuck, you can ask questions like, Eric or Randy do, and just, hey, who's your favorite baseball player? What's your favorite pizza? Or where do you go out to eat? Or what type of music do you like? If you get stuck. And Cynthia Mannion, thank you so much for joining us. She too has a podcast. You need to check it out.
She does an awesome job.
Tremendous job. And Cynthia, the reason I don't always check it out, my friend, is sometimes I'm calling balls and strikes. It's still going on here. We have fall baseball, and it never seems to cease. But I do that on occasion, and even on a weekend. But so Jim, I just want to say thank you again for
Yes.
joining us.
Well,
And,
thank you for having me. Yeah.
And with that stated, Tom, do you got anything to add to all this fun that we had?
Well, yeah, I just want to have everybody put our prayers out for those that are affected by the recent storm. And I know Florida's going to get hit again here in the next day or two. So it's taking a different path, but it's going to be pretty severe. It's my understanding. So just pray for everybody's safety and they come through it in a way that is positive. So also with everything has happened with the Helene hurricane, I'm just asking people to take time and go support, whether it be the any of the service organizations supporting the
Right.
hurricane survivors. I am also taking 50% of my proceeds from Q Up fundraising. So if you subscribed, I'm taking 50% of my revenue profits and donating to the Helene cause as well.
Yes.
So I've done some vetting on some organization. I'll be donating through Samaritan's Purse.
Right.
Yeah. So
And Tom, that's a great point. We were very fortunate here in Metro Atlanta, at least for Peachtree Corners where we live, weren't affected, but I know other people that weren't far from us were. And there's Tom. I'm going to pop that up there. There you go, guys. Check it out. And just wanted to, that's one of the things I am grateful for, because I might have been hollering at Jim, hey, where can I go? What do I do? But it's not funny. It's still going on. There are people that, what Tom just talked about in this great state, that don't have power, water. People in Valdosta really got hit. I know I talked to a client and we have to wait for about a month because they're rehauling their entire Valdosta branch, which is kind of scary. They've got like about 13 of them, but it was unique, talking to that individual. And then what's going on elsewhere. There's people, in our country that are still hurting from this. So it's a big deal. We were all, I'm sure, Jim, we were all worried the night before. All I know is I went to go get some D batteries. They were gone. The ice was gone and all the bananas were gone, of all things. So yeah, figure that one out.
Yeah, right.
At the grocery store. And I won't talk to you about eggs and milk because you knew they were gone too. But we lucked out and didn't really get hit. So, yeah. Florida took a tremendous hit as well.
Yeah, Q Up fundraising. Reach out to me. Take a look at the service we're using. I am supporting personal causes with my revenue on that. If you're involved with a fundraising company or organization, I'd love to talk to you about the Q streaming as a fundraising vehicle for your organization. Pretty profitable and great opportunity to help support causes that you may be associated with. So that's my commercial for tonight.
Says the man with the veteran hat with the American, red, white, and blue on the side. The only thing I want to do is to say thanks to all the first responders out there, EMT, police officers, what's going on in our world today. Totally respect what you do. And I go off the chart for our military. You have my utmost respect, regardless of what branch. Even our political officials, we need to pray for everybody out there that, things are rocking and rolling down the choo-choo track. And my last plug's going to be, please, please, please don't forget to vote. It's happening right now. Where I live, it'll be the 15th early voting. Please don't forget to do that. It's important.
A lot on the line.
Yes. And I was going to say, and if you're not registered, well, I guess today's the last day to get registered today, but if you're not registered, register and go vote. Yes.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I know some people that don't vote. So that kind of hurts when you hear that. So that's all I've got for this evening, this Monday, October the 7th. You believe we're into October? This is just blowing my mind here. And now Cynthia Mannion made a great comment here. I'll just share it, and I totally agree with her. We're into that baseball mode now. I know all you football heads out there in the Southeastern Conference, the only thing that exists in your sphere is football, but this is when baseball gets to be a lot of fun this time of year. Because you never know what's going to happen, you know. Even though Atlanta has quietly departed.
Yeah, same with my Brewers.
Yes. So, Jim, I just want to say thank you. We're going to put you in the green room.
Thank you.
Just quickly, don't go crazy and eat all the M&Ms. Or if you do, we thought we'd have pizza, but Eric dropped the ball on us, so we'll have to get into it with them. But we'll catch you in a minute. Tom, thanks as always for your questions, insight, and everybody else that made a comment or two out here. We really appreciate.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Tag and share this with your audience. You never know how it'll impact somebody's life in a positive way.
And the bottom line is, we're nothing without you, and we greatly appreciate you, because you don't have to be here, but we hope more people see this on the instant replay, as I like to say. Tom, you got anything else?
That's it. God bless everybody. Prayers for those that are affected by the storm and those that are going to be affected by the upcoming storm. So,
well, let's close this bad boy out and get out of here then, so we can go back to doing what we do. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy the evening.